Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Taurus for September 2018. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Check out what's new on my blog. If you'd love to learn astrology, check out my astrology apprenticeship program. And if you're someone who's been wanting to have a live reading with me, but I've been on sabbatical for an extended period of time from doing live readings, you'll be happy to know that I have opened up, I'm not sure for how long, but for now anyway, to take on new clients for live personal readings. So if you want my personal insights about your chart or have questions about timing or other things I can assist with, then check it out under Work With Me at anniehelpsyou.com. Okay, so what's going on in September? We have Mars finally direct, so productivity, momentum, things, energy levels starting to wake up. We have Mercury retrograde and most of its shadow period past. We have Venus retrograde energies starting up. The shadow period starts on September 4th and gets deeper into that energy all September until it finally goes retrograde at the beginning of October and lasts into November. And then the whole transit lasts till the middle of December. And Venus retrograde, well, Venus affects love, beauty, and money. So self-esteem, design projects, physical things, of money, finances, investments, love, relationships, connections. So that's a dominating experience. And Venus is also the ruler of Taurus. So when your planet, your primary planet, your ruling planet is retrograde, you're going to feel that more. I mean, we all feel it, but there are special implications for you. Now, if you were born with Venus retrograde at birth, you could have some different effects than other people have. But I do go way into Venus retrograde. You definitely, I think all signs really would behoove you to watch my Venus retrograde video, but especially since Taurus is your ruler, like really understanding. I did an amazingly comprehensive Venus retrograde. So if you just search for Annie Venus retrograde, it should come up and you can check that out. I also have an extensive blog series. And once it gets to be the October report, I will go into details about which house or houses Venus will be retrograde in for you, each early, middle, and late degree placement. So we're going to get into all that now, but I just want you to be aware that you're not seeing clearly in love and beauty and money. Issues or blessings from the past can start coming back. It favors energy towards the past, not new decisions or launches. But we'll talk more about that in the general report. So I'm calling the theme of the month for Taurus travel, adventure, education, and expanded horizons. And this is because each of you, early, middle, and late degree placements, have something important making a big showing in your 9th house. The 9th house is the house of Sagittarius, and even though these planets aren't in the sign of Sagittarius, when they're in the house of Sagittarius, it expresses through the energy of Sagittarius. So travel, especially long distance and international travel, but it could be any travel. Speaking, teaching, publishing, anything having to do with writing, learning, education programs, anything having to do with different countries, different cultures, different languages, adventure for the sake of itself. This can also have to do with horses or anything else that is like spiritual or religious. So religion is in here. So if you're involved with the church, things like that could have, be expanded, or anything having to do with just expanding your horizons. Some people get really voraciously into learning about one or a bunch of different topics when this house is aspected, because Sag is all over the place. It's a very different energy than Taurus energy. Taurus energy can be steadfast and focus on one thing at a time, and Sagittarius energy is all over the place. It's in an upward spiral, so it's like it's here, it's here, it's here, it's here. So if you start having like multiple interests and you feel like, whoa, I'm scattered, I'm all over the place, what's going on with me? It could be because of this. So, it's good for you to follow all of those inklings, to just kind of try things on, because your horizons want to be expanded with this. And that will happen either as an armchair warrior where you're studying things, or as you're physically going to things, or breakthroughs that you have. Creative solutions can come in for problems that you've been dealing with for a long time. Definitely insights. The energy of this house that's being accentuated for you this month is like the energy of the sage on the mountain. So the person on the mountain looking down can see a bird's eye view of everything. So let's say there's a village all the way over there, and there's a beaver that built a dam and their water supply is gone and they don't know what's going on. So they go to see the sage on the mountain. The sage on the mountain can see, and actually the people could even see from that point, but there's a beaver that blocked the water. You just have to get it down there. You know, this idea of like this solution that is coming from a place that's different from where the problem was created. Albert Einstein says you can't solve a problem, or said, you can't solve a problem with the same line of thinking that created it. So this is what's opening up for you. Like if you're stuck with anything, if you can't get through to someone or about something, you know, something's going on like that, this like introduction of this more gray possibility opens up limitless potentials. So it's a very expanding, very wonderful, in many cases a very benevolent set of aspects, and it also can bring really good luck. So let's see. Now the reasons why that ninth house is being aspected is different for early, middle, and late degree placements, but it doesn't matter why it is. This is true for all of you. So we've got on August 14th through September 14th, one of my favorite aspects that I'm all excited about is Saturn and Uranus in a trine. When outer planets, the ones that take longer to go around, get locked in a configuration, for better or worse, they're there for a long time. So we have to, you know, if it's a challenging one, then we have to deal with that for a while. But if it's a good one, then we have these blessings for an extended period of time. So from August 14th through September 14th, the energy of Saturn, which is like the builder, the long-term foundation layer, the taskmaster, the very predictable, stable energy, and the opposite energy of Uranus, which is volatile, unstable, you know, it's chaotic, it's innovative, it's reckless, it brings change. Those are locked in this beautiful configuration. So these opposing energies are locked in this amazing configuration that can ground into material gains. Since it's in Earth, it's very much materially focused. So anything that you've been working on that you want to gel, you know, that you want to come into fruition, can start coming into fruition, or you could be making some serious steps to doing that. And even if those steps aren't in the outer world, they could be more in the inner world, because we are still in this retrograde process where it might not be time to launch something yet. But if you do have to launch something, the first week of September is one of the best weeks for a long time, and for another, like since a long time and for a long time, because we have this kind of slight break from the heavy retrograde energies, even though they're still present. So if there's something that can't wait until mid-December to come out, then you might want to bring something out at the beginning of August. And if you're not purposely doing that yourself, you might find just things starting to gel at this time. Okay, so let's see what else I want to talk about there. The new moon is at 17 degrees of Virgo, and that energy of Virgo trines Taurus. So this is there's an extra boost for new moon energy. In general, new moon in Virgo can bring Virgo things, and for you early placements, you're going to have the new moon in the sign of Virgo and close to the house of Virgo. So that is, so what I'm about to describe can be manifesting for all of you, and is doubly true for the early degree placements. So early degree placements are the first 10 days of the sign, or 0 to 9 degrees if you're watching for your sun or rising. Okay, so new opportunities, new phases, new seeds being planted in things with animals or pets, working with them, or your own diet, nutrition, holistic wellness, regular medical world, or diagnostics, exercise regimen, yoga, acupuncture, your workplace dynamics. If you work from home, you know, your self-employed dynamics. If you work in the office, your actual office space. Could be structure, routine, new systems, things like that. So for the middle and late degree placements, you can have all of those things, because that's a global thing. Energetically, like I said, the new moon in Virgo can bring that for everyone. Extra true for the early degree placements, because it's also in that sign, I mean in that house, or it's not in the house, it's on the line between, it's close enough to the 6th house that it could manifest. But it's actually occurring for everyone in the 5th house. So additional new energy for early, middle, and late degree placements in creative projects, things involving children, anything having to do with romance, love, hobbies, pleasure, anything where your hobbies, like the things that you're passionate about. So a new hobby, a new hidden talent. If you are involved with modeling or acting or athleticism, or if you're a musician or you're a leader, you're out in front of people and being seen, this is extra energy. Or if you work with kids, it's extra energy around that. And the kids can be your own or someone else's. Many people will find out they're pregnant or will have a baby during this time, and the energy of child will come in that way, or some development with children that you already have or already know. So those things are going on with the new moon. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention about the new moon, I did tell you that the sign of Virgo trines your, the energy of Taurus. And that is true. So energetically, it's a boost for all Taurus placements, but it will especially be potent for anyone that has their sun or rising near 17 degrees. At 17 degrees would be the most potent, but then 5 degrees in either direction. So like up to 22 or down to 12 degrees. So from 12 to 22 degrees, if you're watching for your rising or moon, that will be relevant for you. And if your birthday is like between May 2nd and May 12th, like give or take a day or so, this can bring you extra blessings, because that new moon will also trine your Taurus placement. So these are the things that are most on my mind for Taurus. Now let's talk about these other beautiful aspects, the dates they occur, things you can expect from them, the dicey transits, which there are less of them, but I want to mention them, including one red flag to really look out for. And we'll talk more about Venus retrograde. So the theme of the month for all signs for September 2018 is major movement and momentum. We've been waiting for a long time for Mars to wake up from its slumber from retrograde. Most people will have been affected from the Mars retrograde as feeling lazy, unambitious, trying to do things that aren't working out, getting super frustrated. And so for those people, things are going to change now. And either it's going to be like a light switches on and your energy levels, your enthusiasm, your ambitions just wake up, or it will be like a slow tingling awakening of coming back to life of your ambitions, your goals, and your motivations to reach goals, and to do anything really. For the percentage of you, the smaller percentage of you who experience Mars retrograde with the opposite, in many cases, people who have Mars retrograde at birth will experience the opposite. So for them, Mars retrograde is their most productive time. So every 2 years, they have a cycle of, 4 or so months where they wake up, they get all this stuff done. So for y'all, you're going to be going back to sleep, but maybe you will have learned some lessons about how to best use your energy and bring some of that productivity into your daily experience afterwards, after the transit. So we have Mercury retrograde pretty much clear now at the beginning of the month. We have Mars just starting to wake up, taking until October 10th to regain full strength. And we have Venus getting ready to go into retrograde. So that's not going to happen until October 5th. But the shadow period starts September 4th. And the shadow period is just as important to note as the retrograde. Occasionally I'll have someone ask, why are you talking about this when it's not happening yet? And my very simple, very powerful, very accurate answer is, it is actually happening. And that's why I have to talk about it. Not everybody wants to deal with this. Most people don't want to mention it and just wait until it's actually retrograde. But you are going to be having these things come up that are true to the transit well before the transit occurs. And that's one of my overriding messages I hope that you see from the work that I'm doing, is to let you be aware that things are not happening just when they, quote, happen. There's an orb of energy before and after aspects where we're feeling them. It's kind of like when you're driving out west from the east. I do this trip across the country back and forth very often. And I always notice, right, when the eastern kind of trees and density of population start to dissipate, you start to see some, desert plants come in, and you start to see more of a sparsity of trees and a change in the kind of trees. And then you might see some mountains in the distance, and you feel the dry air. And so the desert has come to you, but you're still kind of in the space where it's not quite there yet. But you feel it, and it's happening, and it's relevant, and you're having manifestations from it, but you're not quite in the desert yet. Okay, that's how this shadow period is. It starts to smell like this, the stories that are going to come up, the typical feelings, emotions, topics, start coming in. And what are those topics? They have to do with love, beauty, and money. So everybody wants to know about Venus retrograde because these are the big things that people talk about. I have done a very comprehensive job on trying to prepare you for Venus retrogrades. I have a video called Venus Retrograde Do's and Don'ts. I highly recommend that you watch this video because I am not going to do Venus retrograde justice in this video, or even in the months that in October and November when Venus is actually retrograde. We'll be talking about this between now and December, but there's nothing that I have and nothing that I know of available, even on the internet, that is as comprehensive as this video that I've made for you about Venus retrograde. So you definitely want to search for Annie Venus retrograde. I go into so much detail, and you will be very educated about this transit and understand how to best use it. Okay, but in any case, the basic things that go on are, you are not seeing clearly in love, beauty, and money. Not the best time for doing any augmentation to your body, tattoos, implants, adjustments, procedures. Venus retrograde energy is not the best for that. Making big decisions in love, you're not seeing clearly. It's best to evaluate things and work in the backdrop. Money decisions, not the best time to make big money decisions in general. And things from the past that are issues will likely come back up, for better and worse. But blessings from the past can also come back. So like, let's say you're a person who teaches a certain class and you have to, it's the time to cycle to enroll for this class again. That's okay, because it's a class you've been teaching. And in that case, people from the past may come and you might have a very prosperous showing in your class. But this is something you've been doing. It's not brand new. It's not a new launch. It's kind of just leaning towards the past involving money. Okay, so those things tend to do really well. Going back to old clients, previous business ideas, working on them more, anything that's worked for you in the past, doing those things again versus new things are going to be the tagline of September through half of December. Anything involving love, you may have love that comes back from the past. Okay, so yes, issues can come up and will come up from the past. If you have something unresolved in your love life, it's very likely that Venus is going to bring that up in a big way. But you can also have beautiful things from the past. Like, let's say you've been with your partner a long time and you had traditions and things that you did that were awesome and you loved them and you missed them. Venus retrograde can bring them back into your life. It can bring the spark back into your love. For people who are separated from their love, if for any reason, maybe it's a military situation where somebody's abroad working, or any other international work, or even local work. If you have a partner who travels for work or who has been away, Venus retrograde can bring them back and you can see them, So it's very beautiful, and there are many, many wonderful things that can come in. It's just important to remember, not the best time for launches, doing new things, making big moves, making big decisions, if you can help it, because you're not seeing clearly and you don't have the gusto of Venus going direct. It's leaning towards the past. Okay, now it can also bring love back into your life from the past. So somebody that you dated in the past, or a love interest, or someone who you were interested in the past could come back in. And in those cases, it's open for evaluation. Just try to not make any big decisions from what you're evaluating. Okay, so besides Venus retrograde and talking about all this retrograde stuff, we've got a massive amount of this beautiful energy of positive aspects, especially with outer planets. And I've gone into detail about those in the individual reports. But I want to just re-mention this, that for the first half of September, we are locked in this trine with Saturn and Capricorn and Uranus and Taurus. This can bring major manifestation, major things coming from the ethers into form and grounding and material support in wonderful ways. We also have a beautiful aspect with Jupiter and Pluto. This is a sextile between Pluto and Jupiter, and it's occurring in, for an extended period of time again, from like the 7th through the 13th, we can feel this really strongly. So beautiful blessings, especially near 18 degrees. That Earth trine, any Earth or water placements that you have near 2 degrees will be further enhanced. For the Jupiter-Pluto aspect, water and Earth aspects or planets that you have near 18 degrees will be further enhanced. And I usually go 5 degrees in any direction. So you know, 13 degrees through 23 degrees for the Jupiter-Pluto aspect, and then like 0 to 7 degrees for the Earth aspect. So if you have Earth or water placements in any of those configurations, then this could be an amazing time for you. And even if you don't, you're the ones that just get the extra blessing. Everybody has the chance to benefit from these beautiful aspects. So it's super exciting. Overall this month, we've got about 10 awesome, amazing, harmonious expressions. The dates that those occur, so let's see, I'm going to start to give you some dates here, but I want to give you a couple of caveats. One thing to know is that we can sometimes and very often feel the manifestations of a planetary configuration before or after. So I'll give you the dates, but you can feel them before or after, okay? That's the first thing to know. The second thing to know is that if you want a detailed play-by-play of what aspect is occurring on what day and what you can expect from it, then sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. At anniehelpsyou.com, you can get this free newsletter. I do a write-up that does a summary of the month, what you can expect, important details, and lots of additional details that I can't get into in the videos where we talk about what is happening on what day and what you can expect. Okay, but I am going to hit some of the highlights here. So these are the days to look out for sweet vibes, okay? But remember, you can feel them before or after these days. So the 3rd, the 6th, the 7th, the 9th, the 11th, the 12th, the 15th, the 16th, the 20th, the 23rd, and the 24th, and the 27th. Look out for stress, challenges, and overstimulation in the days around September 7th, 8th, 12th, 13th, 18th, 20th, 23rd, and 24th. So now I'm going to just hit a couple of the highlights here. I'm not going to go into all of them. You have to see the written report for that. But we've got some sweetness at the beginning of the month with a beautiful aspect with Venus and Mercury. I love this for all things. September 3rd is an amazing day for pretty much anything, okay? And this is because the Mercury shadow period, post-shadow period has passed. Mars has been direct for a little bit, is regaining steam, and Venus shadow period has not begun yet. So September 3rd, if you've got to do something important, I love September 3rd for this. I also love the days around it because they're mostly amazing aspects. But there is one aspect within that first week, actually 2 aspects like in the first 7-8 days on September 7th and 8th to look out for. But those days up, really the first week is just amazing for anything. So if you have to do anything important in love and beauty and money, like if you want to do your, any kind of physical things, aesthetics to your house, design projects, not on your body, but in your home, in your office, art projects, things bringing anything artistic out, anything really. This first week of September is the week that has the best open energy, free from the retrogrades, that we've had for a long time and that we're going to have for a long time. You're not going to get a freedom from the retrograde energies like this week until mid-December. Okay, so if you've got to do something important, if you have a launch that can't wait until December, you've got to bring something out, do it in this first week. This is amazing energy. Okay, we've got Mercury and Venus in a beautiful aspect. Saturn going direct can bring manifestations out into the world. We've got this trine with Saturn and Uranus. The Earth trine that's been in effect since the middle of August will still be in effect through the middle of September. It's in this exact configuration for a month. And then on September 7th, Mercury comes in and makes that trine with Uranus and Saturn a grand Earth trine. So everyone has the potential to be blessed from these transits and do stuff with them, but especially people with anywhere from 0 to 7 degrees of earth or water placements in your chart. Placements in your chart can go well beyond your sun sign, so here, those of you who have some working knowledge of your chart, this is going to benefit you to know this, okay? If you've got anything near 2 degrees in earth and water, this is going to energize whatever placements you have there and be even bigger and bring things to you in a bigger way. As I talk about bringing things to you in a bigger way, do note, I get this question very often. It goes something like this: Annie, and sometimes it's nicely worded and sometimes it's not nicely worded. And gosh, I wish they would all be nicely worded. But in any case, different versions of this. I'm not having the benefits that you or other astrologers are talking about as potentials from the stars, okay? So why? Why are they not having that? The reason is because if you're not a vibrational match for the things that are present as potentials, then you're not going to experience them, period. That is a law of the universe. Astrology can't get around that. Nothing can get around that. If you have a story, a program, a vibration inside of you, doesn't have to be conscious, can be unconscious, can be ancestral, can be genetic, can be whatever. If you have a storyline that's in your energy field that is different from the one that this beautiful aspect wants to create for you, you're not going to have it created for you. And that doesn't mean that the astrologer is wrong, and it doesn't mean that astrology is wrong. It means that you're not a vibrational match for the potentials that are sitting here. It's like I always say, if you have the ingredients to make a juicy peach pie on your counter, and you come out looking for the peach pie, and you're like, where's the peach pie? Someone's going to ask you, did you make the peach pie with the ingredients on the counter, or are they still there as ingredients? So this is your call from the universe to take an active role in your destiny. And if you see that there are inconsistencies with the potentials that are sitting before you, that you feel, that you see, that you hear about, and they're not manifesting, you have to look inside. Some tools I love for working inside: EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. This is a form of meridian clearing that clears your energy field, clears belief systems. You can find things totally free online. You don't have to have any money. You can be in the worst situation in your life and not be able to put any resources into this and still access it, okay? So look up EFT. I love the Presence Process by Michael Brown, one of my favorite tools. I love the Marriage of Spirit, the exercises in Section 2 by Leslie Temple Thurston. These things are just like blockbuster self-development tools that can help you to be a vibrational match for the things that you want and these beautiful potentials that we're sitting here in front of. Okay, so now that I've said my piece about that, so once we get out of this first 7 days, and even at the end of the 7 days, we've got the Sun opposing Neptune, okay? This is our first aspect that's a little bit, iffy. It brings this question of confusion, unclarity, miscommunication, deception, security breaches. So if you're feeling insecure or weird, regardless of all these potentials around, you have to honor that. We never know when we're going to have a pocket of a manifestation from a challenging aspect, even dancing in between all these beautiful aspects. Okay, so, feel your way through it. On September 8th, we've got a clash with Venus and Mars. That's going to bring some challenges and stress. On September 9th, we've got this beautiful new moon with two beautiful outer planet aspects that are positive affecting it. But we also have Neptune giving this same kind of message: guard your personal data and possessions. If things are seem too good to be true, they may be. Anything that you're not certain about or you're confused about, you need to take more time around. But in general, this new moon at 17 degrees of Virgo is awesome. We've got beautiful positive boosts by Pluto and Jupiter, and it's time to make your new moon wishes on anything involving Virgo. So health, diet, healing work, whether you're doing the work or receiving the work or would like to be doing the work, medical tests, exams, or procedures, anything with animals or pets, or workplace issues or goals. September 11th and 12th, we've got another set of amazing aspects: enhanced discernment, positive outcomes from having an analytical eye. So you can see, this chance for confusion and uncertainty is present at the same time as these enhanced mental powers are present. So you might feel that at one point on one day, and then someone else might feel it. These are rolling energies. It's kind of like, what it's like when you're in the water, right? Let's say you're in the ocean, and there's like a pocket of cold water, right? You're like, oh, cold. How did that happen? I just wandered into a pocket of cold water, but your knee, the bottom of your leg, is in this warmer pocket, right? So that's happening, and then you're like, oh, better go over there into the warm pocket, right? So that's what these transits are like. They're happening at the same time. They're influencing. Their chance to manifest is occurring simultaneously. So you need to use your intuition to feel out, like, I'm feeling good today, and I know these aspects are good, and I'm feeling them, so I'm going to do important things. But then if you're like, well, everyone's saying this is really good, but I feel like crap and I don't feel sure, then don't do anything. you know, you've got to wait and follow your personal flow. Astrology is nothing unless it is helping you to enhance your own connection to yourself and to spirit and to the all that is. All right, so then we start getting a little dicey here in the middle of the month, September 12th, 13th. We've got a little rough patch. This can bring surprises in money and love. This can bring unpleasant jolts, or this can just bring overstimulation. Maybe money stuff is going great. It's going to bring up the polarity of me and we. So you versus other people, people close to you, entities that you're working with. But while this is all going on, we do have that beautiful Jupiter-Pluto aspect that can supersede and bring protection and benevolence even through these challenges. All right, so that September 13th, you got to look out again. If you're not sure about things, deception, uncertainty, security breaches can be more likely. Then on the 15th and the 16th, we've got more sweetness. You know, there's like at least 10 beautiful aspects this month and close to half of that of challenging ones. Okay, so even though there are some things to look out for, there's definitely more awesomeness than there are stress factors. Also towards like the second week of the month is a big time for that eclipse, for more eclipse news to come in when we're like a month after the August 11th eclipse, so around September 11th. That sometimes is a time when major eclipse news or continuation of a story that's already started can come up. So Mercury doing awesome things on the 15th and 16th. But at the same time, Mars and Uranus are going to make a bad aspect. Yes, I'm calling it bad. Yes, you can use it for good. Squares can always be encouragers to do something, to break through something. So in that way, it could be good. But Mars and Uranus getting together in a challenging situation, these are one of the aspects that I put a red flag up for, okay? If you've watched me for a while, or maybe you can tell already, I'm super positive. I have a very optimistic viewpoint. The art of astrology, there's a science of astrology, okay? But there's an art of astrology. It's in the eye of the beholder, the reader. So I look at everything like, how are we gonna make this awesome? But at the same time, if there's something dicey, I will tell you. Okay, and this is one of those things. September 18th, watch out for your body. Watch out for pissing people off. Do not antagonize a crazy person. Do not antagonize anybody. Go easy on exercise. You know, go easy on important conversations. Try to not plan anything important, especially with somebody that pushes your buttons. And if you can avoid people that push your buttons around this time, that would be better. I've seen Mars aspects sometimes show up as soon as 5 days before, you know, and quite a few days after. So remember that about these aspects. You can feel them before or after, and this is occurring at the same time that a lot of sweetness is occurring. So you've got to just, you know, remember what I said about being in the water in the warm and cold patches. You have to, when you're in a really warm, comfy patch, then do some stuff. If it's a little bit dicey, then maybe hold off. And since Venus is going into retrograde and it's getting closer to the shadow period, by this time, your discernment might be off a little bit. It might make more sense to wait before you do something important. September 20th can be great for enhancing mental powers, but it can also bring a lot of criticism. So the 20th, the 21st, and the 23rd, we've got some challenging aspects, 2 of them with Mercury. Okay, so these are energies that can bring up old wounds. These can bring news about a physical malady. It can be something, you know, negativity or criticism could come to you now. It could be anything having to do with like somebody, a force coming in, not being nice, you know, just basically general negativity and criticism. But then on the 23rd, we've got this little boost with Mercury and Mars. So this brings the opportunity for amazing conversations and amazing social contacts, and can bring great mental power. The full moon at 2 degrees of Aries on September 24th is boosted with sweetness by a trine with Jupiter and a sextile with Mars. At the same time, it can have additional intensity from a square with Saturn and then a Chiron conjunction. So whenever Saturn is involved, usually criticism or pressure is involved. Okay, and then whenever Chiron's involved, especially in a challenging aspect, it can bring this victim tyrant mentality or polarity. Okay, so you could feel like somebody is doing something to you, or someone could be accusing you of being a bully or a tyrant, which you may or may not be, but this topic is what's brought up. So fullness, completion, fruition, drama can come to anything in the area of Aries, especially your physical body, especially the head or brain, or anything having to do with your circulation or your neurological system. It can have something to do with fruition about recognition, so coming out into the light, your image, your individuality, pioneering efforts, daring goals, you know, anything that has to do with Aries. We end off the month, September 27th, with a beautiful aspect with the Sun and Mars. So this is great for confidence and enthusiasm. Do remember that even though it can bring positive use of assertiveness and great for attracting or expressing positive masculine traits or energies, we're getting super close to Venus retrograde now. Okay, so just be really careful with the decisions you make, and don't let your enthusiasm make you take on something too soon. All right, this is like, this process of following retrogrades is like watching the ripening of fruit. You know, it makes me think I have a grapevine, and you know, you feel the grapes, right? And they're edible. You get to where they're edible and you might be excited to eat them. But you know, if you wait like 1 or 2 more sunny days, that grape is going to be bursting with so much extra sweetness and juiciness. That is what I want you to hold with you for this, this energy of the retrogrades. And you'll hear me mentioning this a lot because I really want to get it imprinted into you to associate the retrogrades with this. If you're excited to bring something out, but things aren't quite working out and you're not completely sure, maybe it's better to work on it in the backdrop until December. December, mid-December, the end of December is going to be an amazing time in the cosmos. So many wonderful things going on and beautiful energy around bringing things out into the world. So just kind of tune in and make sure that the things that you were thinking about doing are really ready to be plucked off of the vine. So if you are interested in learning astrology, I would love to see you in my astrology apprenticeship program. I don't know for how long, but I will be off sabbatical. I have been on a long sabbatical of not taking individual clients for live readings, but I have some openings now. So if you've been wanting to work with me, then you have your chance. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com. You can sign up for my free email newsletter there, get your monthly write-ups, get all kinds of other goodies. And you can see more about working with me in various capacities on my website. If you'd like a written horoscope from me, then go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. And you'll also see my lifestyle blogs there. If you're a traveler, go to Astrology Kissed Travel Bliss. That is where I write my monthly astrology travel reports. So astrology reports just for the traveler, extra things that we might not talk about in the general report or the sign reports. And definitely check out my husband's website, IamHelios.com. My husband, B.R. Newman, is an amazing phenom of creativity. He's amazing with tarot. He teaches tarot. If you've wanted to learn tarot, definitely check out his tarot course. And he puts together these vibrational masterpieces to help you attune to the stars and to bring the positive aspects out of expression and to work with the challenging ones. So check out his database of audio assistance at IamHelios.com. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.